Do you want to plan a month of social media content with ease, without burning yourself out, and without wanting to pull your hair out of your head? If so, you have landed in the right video, because that is exactly what I'm going to share. So let's dive right in. My name is Jelena Ostrovska from JelenaOstrovska.com, and I'm a social media manager and content strategist. I primarily work with coaches, consultants, and course creators. So with that being said, this is the topic that we're focusing on today, is creating a content calendar, and we're also going to keep it organized. I will share with you how to create a content calendar for all your publishing platforms using ClickUp. Now, this can be emulated into any tool. It can be used for Airtable, it can be used for Trello, for Notion, for Asana. Choose your own adventure, but we are going to be focusing on ClickUp. So let's get right into the video. But before we do, I want to share with you my free email newsletter, Organic Growth Insider, where I share weekly tips right into your inbox, all things about content marketing, organic growth strategies, and social media. So be sure to check the link down below in the description box, and I hope to see you there. Okay, step number 1, identify your core content publishing platforms. So this is extremely important because you do not want to be all over the place, and you do not want to be on every single social media platform, especially if you are just not ready for that. So there are 2 types of content publishing platforms that, how I distinguish them. So number 1 is the pillar platform, and the pillar platform really is either YouTube or your blog or a podcast. So a pillar content usually gets published once a week, but it can be published more frequently, depending on how much time you have every single week devoted for content marketing. I prefer it to do once a week, so I have a specific content theme for the week, and that's kind of the new strategy that I'm testing out for myself to keep content more organized and streamlined. So that is something that you want to do for your content. Now, choose whatever you want to do. You may want to go with YouTube if you enjoy video marketing. You may want to go just with writing if you want to go, and create your own blog. So, but the other thing that I will say here is it actually doesn't matter that much what you're going to choose. Choose whatever you're more comfortable with in the beginning. You can always add more platforms to your portfolio. But I will say this, starting with a video is definitely easier because it just gives you so much content. It gives you the video, it gives you the audio, it gives you the transcription, and I actually have a couple of videos on content repurposing, so you can check out some right here in the YouTube cards. So I will be attaching them here. Definitely check those out. But starting with an audio and with a written form is okay, but video is here to stay. It is on every single platforms, and you physically cannot escape it. So that's one thing that we're going to be focusing on. Okay, and the second type of content is going to be social media. So you get to choose if you want to be on a couple platforms, if you just want to be on one. I always recommend personally, if you're a complete beginner, start with one. Do not try to overwhelm yourself. But then the moment you can expand, like after maybe the first 90 days, maybe the first 6 months, I would recommend to expanding, because there are so many different features that, for example, Facebook may not have, or Instagram may not have, or, right now everybody's talking about Twitter. So me being a social media manager, I kind of like all of them. So I experiment and I play with all content platforms and with all social media. So choose the ones that you're comfortably already spending your time in. Okay, so I found myself spending a lot of time on Twitter recently. So I was like, you know what, if I'm here anyways, I may as well post content. So that's how you choose like your first content platforms, because we are going to be using that to build our ClickUp workflow. Step number 2, define your frequency of publishing. So you want to make sure that you are not going to be burning yourself out. You don't take too much on your plate, because sometimes we all need content breaks. We need a social media detox. So do not try to go for 5 times a week of YouTube or daily podcast if you know that you mentally and physically and emotionally cannot really sustain that. So I suggest starting with at least like one a week. Just get comfortable with creating one YouTube video a week, or one blog post per week, or one podcast per week. And then as far as social media goes, that's really where you're going to be spending a lot of your time: networking, talking to people, having conversations, showing up on stories, promoting your pillar content, promoting your YouTube videos, your podcast, your blog posts, you name it. So social media frequency can go anywhere from, 3 times a week all the way up to like 5, 10, 20 times a day, because a platform like Twitter kind of requires you to be more consistent and more frequent with your publishing, because you are essentially competing with millions and probably billions of tweets every single hour or every single day. So that's something to keep in mind. Step number 3, start with your pillar content. And that's actually something I talk a lot about in my newsletter as well, that I've mentioned earlier. So if you scrolled all the way to this part of the video, go ahead and check the link in the description, get on my newsletter. I only email once a week, sometimes twice a week. So you receive weekly tips all around content marketing and social media, so you know how to use it best. But as far as, starting with your pillar content, it's going to be so much easier when you have like one weekly theme. So let's say if this week you want to talk about, how to like text a guy, right? So if you're a relationship coach, and then next week you're going to talk about the big red flags of relationship. The following week you can talk about long distance relationship. And then the following weekend can be something around like how to improve communication. So those are like the 4 content pillars that you can talk about if you are a relationship coach, for example. And then all your social media content can really be driving traffic to that video, to that blog post, and you can really like simplify how you're creating content. You're not going to have to struggle with, oh my gosh, what am I going to talk about? So you take pieces out of your video, out of your blog post, out of your podcast, and you turn those into social media. For example, you can cut or like trim a piece of your video and turn it into an Instagram reel, turn it into a TikTok, make it kind of like a trailer for the movie. So the trailer is your TikTok or Instagram reel. The actual movie is your YouTube video, right? You can take the transcript from your blog post or from your video or podcast and turn like whatever, like the big, like the bomb that you dropped, right, in a good way, like the truth bomb, and you can turn it into an Instagram quote, or you can turn it into a tweet, or you can turn the whole content idea, content topic into a tweet or into a whole Twitter thread, and then promote your YouTube video or your like main pillar content. So the limits are not even here. There are no limits to how much you can create, but you will see your content workflow is going to be so much simpler when you do implement a strategy like that. And step number 4 is create a content calendar. So right now we're actually going to dive into ClickUp, and I'm going to show you how to set it all up. I'm going to be creating a demo that you can implement for yourself step by step. It's going to be pretty simple. So you can start with a free ClickUp account. I will leave a link down below for you to check it out. It is going to be an affiliate link. If you do upgrade, I may be getting a small commission. So let me show you how to set it up in ClickUp. Okay, so now I am inside of my ClickUp account, and you can kind of see there's a lot of things going on here. And this is my main content calendar board right now, but I'm going to show you how to create it all from scratch. So essentially, what you need to understand about ClickUp is there is a hierarchy, and the hierarchy, the way it works is, there is a space. So that's like the big umbrella that holds everything. It can be like marketing, it can be sales, it can be customer support. So it can be so I have kind of different things. So I have frameworks, I have agency, email marketing. So I kind of keep things different just to organize myself. And then underneath the space, there is a folder. And inside of a folder, there is a list, right? So we are currently looking at a list, okay? So content calendar, which is underneath my YouTube folder. So I have a couple things. They're not necessarily needed, but I kind of keep it to keep organized because I have workflow and editing here for my assistant. Then I have the brain dump, and then I have the actual content calendar. So, and then the way the calendar works is you will be able to preview it however you want. So I have a couple of views. And I'll show you how everything works here in just a second, but I will be showing you the basics so you don't get overwhelmed because ClickUp can be a lot. So let's get started. So add space is the first thing that you're going to want to do. and we're gonna call it content marketing demo. Okay, so there are also templates that you can start with, but we'll just stick with being like keeping it like this. So you can choose the color. So for the purpose of this, I'm going to choose like a grayish color, and then you can select whatever icon you want. You can even upload your own icon. So I'll just choose this one. Then you click next. Then you decide if you want to keep it private or add people to it. So I'm going to keep it private for now. And then here you are going to add statuses. Now, the way statuses work is, you have the not started things. So you can rename the one that's by default to do. You can call it idea, right? And that's where all of your ideas are going to be. Your complete, you can rename it and call it published. So it can be pretty generic because it is content marketing. So the final step of each content piece is publishing, right? Now, active statuses, you can put it into like done statuses, right? So move status is here to consider tasks done. Close status, it's still going to be showing up, but this is like the last stage, of the task. So whatever, like I don't even always use the done status. And then the active statuses, so you can make it in progress. Then we're gonna make it yellow. Then the one that's, let's say, ready for publishing, right? Then this can be like, I don't know, orange, ready for publishing. Now, done statuses can actually be, you can, I believe I can do that right here. Let's see, scheduled. See if I can move it actually. Okay, so done status can be scheduled, right? So it's scheduled, and then when it's actually published, you can move it around. Now in progress, ready for publishing, the other status that you can make could be, I don't know, not a fit. So that's something that you can do. Let's make it gray, and we'll keep it first just so it's easy to move everything around. And that's gonna be it. So we're keeping it custom. You can use Kanban, you can use normal, doesn't matter. I prefer to do it however I want, so keep next. Now here, you wanna choose which Click apps you're gonna be using. Generally, if it's just you don't need multiple assignees. Tags, you can kind of keep them. They're not really necessary. I mean, I would keep them just so you can kind of add things if you need to. Time tracking, you may not even need it right now. Custom fields, I would keep those. Email, you can send emails within ClickUp, but I wouldn't even bother about it right now. So let's see how many more we have. Incomplete warning, so we don't have to worry about that right now. Dependency warning, you don't really need it when you're first getting started. And that's it for now. We're just gonna keep priority, tags, and custom fields. So then we click next, and then you get to decide whichever views you want to keep, and I'll show you how they're going to look like. So board view is generally how Trello looks like. Calendar is what we're going to need for sure. I like to keep a list as well. And then if you are somebody who maybe you've used Airtable before and you kind of want to like switch to ClickUp, then table view is the one that you may want to keep. Now there's a lot of others like timeline. These are usually best used for when you have a team. For something like content, I would just keep these 4 views and call it a day. And then you just review it, and then you create a space. So we got that space ready, okay? So content marketing demo. Now, let's get to the fun part. So then you want to go ahead and create, I would honestly start with a folder, but if you want to keep it even simpler, you can just make lists, right? So you can just make a list for YouTube. You can create a list for, let's say, Instagram. And then you can create, so this list, we can just delete it because it's the one by default. And the other one, let's say we're going to make, I don't know, let's do LinkedIn. So let's say these are our main platforms. This is where we're focusing on. Here's something that you want to understand. So you are going to have all the things here by default. Now, all of the, statuses here are going to be by default. So if I go over to, let's pull up YouTube. So we're going to go to the board view, and it's going to look like this. So we have idea, not a fit, in progress, ready for publishing, scheduled, published, right? Then calendar view is obviously going to look like a calendar. And then the table view is going to actually not even show us anything right now, but let's get it going. So let's start with YouTube. So we're going to make it we're going to use the dating example, how to text a guy. Whoops. So then the other is going to be long distance relationships tips. The other can be, let's say, relationship red flags. And one more, we're going to add how to know if he likes you. Okay, so these are going to be the topics. Let's set some due dates so you know when these are going to have to be published. So let me actually move myself to the left. So here, assignee, you can actually, I believe this one, you can hide the column if it's not necessary. Just hide it. Then you're gonna want to add the due date. Let's say we're going to be planning May, and each Tuesday you're publishing, or let's say each Thursday, just so we can keep it like 4 topics. So here you're going to be adding the due dates, 5, 12, here's going to be 19, and here is going to be 26. Okay, so we've got the due dates. Now let's go ahead and look at the calendar view, and we're going to pull up May. So now we have all the content topics here, right? So we have all the 4 topics. They're all gray color because they're still in the idea status. Now, if we are going to go, you can even go into the board view and you can move them around. Let's say if you have already created the video and it's ready for publishing, you can just move it right here. That's why I like keeping the board view, because it's so easy to move things around. Now let's go look at our calendar once again. And this one is about to turn yellow. Okay, so we're gonna like close this. So now it's yellow. We know it's in progress, so it's like ready to be recorded, so something is in progress. So I'm keeping the status as simple for you so you don't have to like question it. And here the calendar, by the way, there's one thing that you can do about the calendar. So let me see if I can actually do this. You can like customize everything right here. You can start your week with Sunday, I believe, and then right here you can even like not show weekends if you're like not working on weekends, so you just show like Monday to Friday. So that's kind of what I do, because there's no point for me for those extra spots. So we have that calendar right here. Now let me show you how to actually do things inside of ClickUp when you want to like write something, right? So let's say if it's a video and you want to go ahead and like start creating things. So you click on the text, and then on the right you're going to see there's a place to comment. So you can just add, you know, any comments for yourself. I like to add things here like keywords, so I can like go back and edit this. You can add title ideas, thumbnail, if I can spell, thumbnail ideas. And then what you can do here, instead of editing in the main area where I usually write like the YouTube video script, so here you can just go ahead and edit, right? So now this is kind of the way this looks like when it's done. So I have the script of this particular YouTube video, I have my keyword, I have all the things that I'm saying in it, I have like my brainstorm of tags, and that's it, right? Now here, basically the same thing. You don't have to touch anything else. Like you don't have to, like if you want to add a tag and you have like, I don't know, content pillars here, you can create tags if you want to, but then dependencies, do not touch anything else. All you have to do, and then once it is ready, you can even add subtasks. Maybe like you want to add, like create a thumbnail. So you want to make sure you add that, write YouTube description. And then the other thing that you may want to do is schedule on YouTube. And even here you can create deadlines for yourself, right? So right here you can, I believe you can add a deadline here. maybe not. So I'm still learning ClickUp myself, so but you can also send email to tasks, so play with it. So you can also add a to-do right here, like a subtask or checklist. That actually might be a better idea. So you can kind of play with it, add a checklist, and then you can cross it off as you go. So for some reason it's just not creating right now. But essentially that is where you're going to be making everything, right? So your board, your calendar view, and you know, if we look at May, this is kind of how it's going to be looking like. Now, if we go over to Instagram, it's essentially going to be the same thing. So how to, like, 3 tips to text a guy on social media. I don't know, you can kind of expand your social media topics into it. And then if you go over to calendar, well, we have to go ahead and create a due date. And it's going to be, if I can like move my face, it's going to be, let's say, May 3rd, right? And then your calendar is going to show you that post right here. So it is gray. And then if we move over to our entire space, this is the best part. And let's hope it's not going to break right now. So you are going to see all of your content right here. You're going to see your YouTube videos. You're going to see your social media content. And once this fills up, then all you really need to do is make sure that everything is either like scheduled or is in progress or ready to be published. Like whenever it's like all orange, you know, you're going to have some peace of mind. And essentially that's all you need to create in ClickUp just to get yourself started. Okay, so now that I showed you how to create an entire content calendar using ClickUp, again, you can emulate it in Asana or any other project management tool, so choose whatever you want to do with it. So now let's go over to the final step, which is step number 5, create your content workflow. So now it's really time for you to decide, okay, so how often am I going to be planning my content? Like, am I going to be doing it once a month? Am I going to be doing it twice a month? Again, my recommendation here, there's no right or wrong way for you. You are the CEO of your business, so you get to decide whatever it is that you want to do. You know what I mean? So for me personally, there are months when I'll sit down and I'll knock out 2-3 months of content for YouTube and I'm excited and it's great. And then there are other months when I'm like, I don't even know what to create. Like I feel blocked. There's something in my mind that just isn't moving. So there are months when I wouldn't even create anything and I would like focus like that particular month on cleaning up the back end of my business, which is kind of what I focused on in the last couple months. I believe it was April and a little bit of March where I wasn't really publishing a whole lot of content. It was mostly just a focus to clean up my back end of the business, clean up, the client onboarding and all the other things. So choose what's going to be a fit for you. There are going to be other months when you will be like, okay, so I want to make sure that I'm consistent, or you may have a launch, you may have a course launch or a product launch or whatever. And you're going to think to yourself, okay, so now I really get to figure out what is going to be my content strategy. Am I going to need to post on YouTube during those months? Or even if you do, what is going to be the type of content that you will be creating, right? So you may need to make sure that you invite people to apply to your program. You may need to make sure that you mention your free challenge or something that's going to be going on, right? So make sure that you are really strategic about using the content calendar. And, in the beginning, it is going to be kind of like getting used to it, because a lot of the times, like, we create content on the fly. I used to be the content on the fly kind of girl, but then when you start working with clients, when I started working with social media management clients, I was like, I really get to organize this and I really get to, stay committed and consistent to my clients. And there's no way how I would be able to manage it without having an actual content calendar and a content strategy and a plan in place. So, and then being able to batch content either once a week or, a couple times a month. So choose what works for you and for your energy. So at least like the way that I do it, I start with YouTube. So, and I was able to sit down and plan like 8 weeks of YouTube content. So now really like this is me recording the first video, like starting for May. So just like sharing the behind the scenes, a little bit of my business. So something that you can implement for yourself. Now, with that being said, I really hope this opened up your eyes to what you can do with content. I really hope that you're going to be able to implement that. So let me know to the comment section if you are already using content calendars for your business or if you are not yet. So I would love to know, and let me know if you're going to be using ClickUp or if that's going to be another tool. So I would really love to know which tool you're going to be sticking to. Also, feel free to share this video on Instagram stories and tag me, and I would love to reshare you to my stories as well, and I would love to connect with you over there. So my username is going to be somewhere around here, and all the social media links are going to be down in the description box, so definitely check it out there. With that being said, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for sticking all the way through the end of this video, and if you're still here, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, and hit the bell sign, and share this video with a friend who you know this might be helpful. And by the way, if you are at a point in your business where you're like, I kind of need a social media manager, I really need help, and you know you're ready to hire help, go ahead and apply in the link down below in the description box, and we can chat if my services are going to be a fit for your business. And with that being said, I appreciate you, I hope to speak to you soon, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.